Welcome back to Cotton River Farm. It's time to winterize the hoop coop.
One of the biggest questions that I get about this hoop coop is it suitable for winter? And the answer is yes. Heat is actually a much bigger threat than cold.
In fact, limited ventilation and too high humidity levels is just as dangerous to chickens in the wintertime as it is in the summer. So we're going to show you how we winterize this coop for the colder period of the year. Now, your main goal, of course, with a chicken is to keep them dry. God gave them plenty of fluffy feathers. It's an insulating blanket around them. It only works if they're dry. So the number one thing is you've got to keep the chickens dry. Additionally, you want to keep strong wind or draft off of the chicken because it will wind wash the air in their feathers and diminish their ability to stay warm.
You will want to take into consideration the breed of the chicken for the climate that you're living in, and most chicken breeds are cold hardy. The biggest factors in winterizing a chicken coop are ventilation and blocking the wind. You want to keep those chickens dry, but also maintain ventilation. Chickens have sensitive respiratory systems, and even in cold weather, they need that ventilation. You also do not want a big temperature difference between an outside of the coop and the inside of the coop. That can actually be detrimental to a chicken's system and really be unhealthy for them. Another thing you want to consider is to maintain that ventilation in the winter to reduce the risk of humidity buildup inside your coop. Humidity buildup inside the coop actually increases the risk for frostbite on their combs, toes, and wattles.
All we're going to do is we're going to cover this end of this hoop coop. Now, personally myself, I would just put some pressure-treated plywood on there. My daughter rightly pointed out that some people are not free-ranging and they want the additional light. So instead, we're going to apply a solid panel across the bottom of pressure-treated plywood and a clear polycarbonate panel on the top. Serves the same purpose. It blocks the direct wind coming through the coop, but it provides the additional light. So we're going to run through real quick. It's super easy to do and show you how to retrofit this just for the cold winter months. All right, to close up the end of this coop for the winter, it's very simple to do. I just took a piece of pressure-treated plywood and I ripped it 19 3/4 inches wide. I had to notch it a little bit to get it around the nesting box here, but just set that right in on the bottom. Next, you'll set your polycarbonate panel on top of it. So why 19 3/4 on the plywood? That's because a 4/8 sheet of polycarbonate panel will put you right here to the top of this. We want to leave this little half moon shape open for ventilation. So we're blocking the wind, but we're leaving the ventilation along the top. Now the UV panel here, they've got this protective film on it. It's stamped UV on this side. So apparently it matters which side it goes out for the UV protection. So simple to do, fasten this on here, and then you'll take your Sharpie. You can see the outline of the coop here. You just press it back against here and mark right along the edge of the curve of the coop with your Sharpie on it and also the plywood. And we can just cut these ends and we can screw this right to the end, and quick and easy, we've got it ready for the winter. You may recall when we built the coop, we had these batten strips on here to cover up the edge of the hardware cloth. Of course, we need to pull those off. So run these screws out real quick and set it off to the side. And I put a piece of pressure-treated plywood across the bottom. Now I notched it to go under the nesting box and also cut the hole out for the automatic chicken door. From there up, you have a 4-foot panel. Will put you right at the top of this board here. So whether you're using a piece of pressure-treated plywood or if you're not free-ranging and you want the clear acrylic panel, a 4-foot panel will put you right to the top of this board and leave this half moon shape for ventilation. So we're going to screw this panel off and then put our acrylic panel on top of it. All right, just slide that polycarbonate panel down in there like that. Since that polycarbonate panel is kind of weak, you want to reinforce it with a fender washer. So you simply just take a screw, put it through the middle of the fender washer, and then run it in on top of the panel. And you just do that everywhere you need to. So there you got it. Polycarbonate panel is fastened on here. You've still got this little half moon shape at the top. So when the wind blows, it will ventilate the top, but the chickens are not in a direct draft. And that's really all they need, just to knock the main wind off. The air trapped in their feathers will keep them nice and toasty warm. All right, the plywood panels are plenty stiff enough that we have fastened it here on this brace. It's going to cantilever out. This is really solid. And of course, if you use a piece of plywood up here as well, no worries, the plywood's stiff enough. But for this polycarbonate panel, it's a little floppy here on the edges. So to take care of that, all we're going to do is take a piece of galvanized wire, and we're going to put a couple holes in here and run the wire through it and then wrap it and tie it on the inside. The wind blows this way, of course, it's going to push back tight against the coop. We just need it to keep it from blowing back a little bit. Super simple to do. So that concludes our winterization of the hoop coop. Thanks so much for watching today, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on all of her great homesteading tips.
You can also join our weekly newsletter to get updates via email and educational homesteading tips. The information to join is in the links below.
Thanks for watching.